Velasquez, whose home run against Stephen Kolek began this ninth inning, will come to bat. Once again, the Royals get the tying run to the plate in the ninth inning. This has been their M.O. First pitch to Velasquez, swung on, sent in the air to deep left field. Zokar is back at the wall. He's got it, and the ball game is over. About as an adventurous of a bottom of the ninth as you could ever dream of in what was an 11-3 game. But Nelson Velasquez flies out to the wall in left field to end it, and the Padres hang on for an 11-8 win here in Game 1 in Kansas City.
As Jose Zokar caught the baseball for the final out, I think I could hear all of San Diego exhale at once. What a ball game in Kansas City as the Padres beat the Kansas City Royals 11-8 to begin this three-game series. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. As we wrap this one up, we've got a lot to do. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. I think we may have a record number of highlights coming up in our game recap a little bit later, and we'll get you involved as well. As we wrap this one up, a really, really nice and memorable win for the Padres in a number of different ways as the Padres score 11 runs on 18 hits, and that's really just the start of the story in this one here tonight. So let's talk about where this game, how do I even put it? Is it fair to say this game just got drunk at one point in the eighth inning? I mean, that's what it felt like. Okay, so let's start here. The Padres are trailing 3-2 going to the top of the eighth inning. And we've talked about it many, many times. When the Padres offense is at its best, it's an offense that strings hits together. It's an offense that, quote unquote, passes the baton. It's an offense that, quote unquote, moves the line, however you want to put it. The Padres trailing 3-2 in the eighth inning against John Schreiber on the mound for Kansas City. They ended up putting together 7 consecutive singles to start the eighth inning, and in the process took the lead with those 7 consecutive singles. But that was just the start of the story in that eighth inning. The Padres putting together what would become a game where they trailed 3-2 at the start of the top of the eighth inning. The Padres had a 9-run, 11-hit eighth inning. A new franchise record. We saw something that had never been done in Padre history until tonight. An 11-hit inning. They had put together a handful of 10-hit innings in franchise history, but never an 11-hit inning until that eighth inning. And in the process, the Padres turned what was a 3-2 deficit into an 11-3 lead. Just an unbelievable eighth inning. There were guys with multiple hits in the inning, including Luis Arraez, who, oh, by the way, ended up with 4 hits on the night. Another 4-hit game for Arraez. That sort of got lost in the shuffle of everything that happened in the final 2 innings of this game. Jerkson Profar had 2 hits. Jake Cronenworth had 2 hits in that eighth inning, and we will recap that eighth inning in its entirety coming up in a little bit, I promise. But even the eighth inning was just the start of the story in this game, because then we get to the ninth inning. The Padres have a very, very comfortable 11-3 lead. Anytime you have an 8-run lead and you got to get 3 outs, that's pretty comfortable. Well, things did not go well for Stephen Kolek in that bottom half of the ninth inning. Robert Suarez ultimately has to come on with the tying run on deck, because then it becomes a save situation. So Mike Shildt did exactly what he should have done. Got Robert Suarez loose again and brought him in a save situation. But even after that, Freddie Fermin, the 2-run single to make it a 3-run game and bring the tying run to the plate in the bottom of the ninth inning, as if that wasn't dramatic and nerve-wracking enough. Then the fly ball from Nelson Velasquez. He's 3-4 feet short of a home run in left field. I'm telling you right now, as Jesse's making the call and we're sitting here in the studio, myself and Nick DiNucci, our studio coordinator, the emotions that you started to feel as that ball was in the air, the 6 seconds of hang time that ball was in the air, you're thinking there is no way. This is not happening. This is not real. But thankfully, Azócar in Kansas City at Kauffman Stadium had just enough room to make the catch, and the Padres do pick up what was a super memorable win for so many different reasons. But let's be honest, heading into the top of the eighth inning, this was a relatively simple, relatively well pitched, and relatively quick 3-2 game. Kansas City in front. And then I don't know what happened after that. In the eighth inning, this game went totally off the rails. In the best of ways for the Padres in the top of the eighth inning, and then nearly in the absolute worst of ways in the bottom half of the ninth inning. Can you imagine if that ball got out off the bat of Velasquez, what we would be talking about right now, depending on how the rest of that game went? So, look, the eighth inning, magical. The best inning the Padres have had all year. A historic inning, truly. 11 hits in that top of the eighth inning. And that is where the Padres offense is absolutely at its best. We've said it time after time after time, now 60 games in. This offense, and they do this on the road a lot. It's something they do on the road that they've struggled to do at home, but you'll take it. But this offense is at its absolute best when it is just moving the line and stringing hits together. 11 hits in that eighth inning. 10 of them were singles in that eighth inning. 9 runs scored. At one point, the Padres had 7 consecutive singles to start the inning. There was still nobody out. And I'll just go through the box score offensively here quickly. Arise, 4 hits, 2 RBIs. Tatis, 2 hits, an RBI. Profar, 3 hits, 2 RBIs. Cronenworth, 2 hits, 3 RBIs. Profar and Cronenworth had 2 hits in the inning, so did Arise. Machado, 2 hits. Solano, how about Solano? Again, he just continues to hit the ball. 2 hits after not starting this game. Came into pinch hit, and guess what? Donovan Solano ends up going 2 for 3 in this game. Jackson Merrill had a couple of hits. Ha-Sung Kim had a base hit in this game, and a couple of runs scored. That eighth inning was something to behold. It was nearly matched with the bottom of the ninth inning, but that is neither here nor there. Final score, Padres 11, Royals 8, and I'm telling you, when Azócar caught that ball and left, I could hear it here in the studio. You could hear all of San Diego, a lot of Southern California just taking one big exhale, because that's what it felt like. That was a fun one. It really was. What a wacky final couple of innings as the Padres beat the Royals 11-8. Padres now 31-29. Royals dropped to 35-24. That was a fun one. I don't know what happened in those final 2 innings, but we will tell you all about it when we come back. We'll have the radio highlights. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt, and much, much more to get to. We're just getting started on our post-game coverage. We're back after this on the Padres Radio Network. Our postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score in Kansas City here tonight. The Padres 11 and the Royals 8 as the Padres win what would become a wild one in Kansas City in this series opener. Sam Levitt with you here inside our San Diego studios. We've got a lot to do on our post-game coverage. We will get you involved as we go along here. You can get involved on a number of different platforms. You can always call us, 833-288-0973, the phone number. Again, 833-288-0973, the phone number to call if you want to get involved that way. You can also get involved via social media. You can tweet at me at SammyLev, SammyLev. Instagram DMs open as well. Sammy Lev there too. You can comment on our video streams. If you're watching that way, I will get you involved as we go along here. We'll also hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. But not only was it a historic 8th inning for the Padres, but I think we have a historic game highlight recap here. I cannot recall, at least in my now 2+ seasons with the Padres Radio Network, having as many highlights cut as we have from this one, having a game recap quite like this. I really, really can't remember. And the amazing part about it is this game was not all that exciting for the first 7 innings, but somehow we ended up with, I think, a record number of highlights from this game. So our studio coordinator, Nick Danucci, he's got his mouse ready, his computer mouse ready to click away here. I've got my voice ready. I've got my notes here ready. Let's get to it. Let's tell you how this one went down.
What moments had the biggest impact on today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game recap on the Padres Radio Network.
It seems like a decade ago that we had an absolute pitcher's duel early on in this game, but we did. Dylan Cease and Michael Wacha were dealing early on. The Royals had the better of the early chances, a leadoff double in the second, a leadoff double in the third, but the Royals did not score. Both starting pitchers got through 5 scoreless innings. We were still scoreless heading to the 6th inning. That's when the Padres got it going against Wacha. Wacha issued a 1-out walk to the number 9 batter, Ha-Sung Kim. Luis Arraez singled. That set the table for Fernando Tatis Jr.
Here's the 0-1 to Tatis. Fernando swings, sends it out towards left center field. Isbell, long run, going back, not going to get there. Hits off the wall. Kim has scored. Arraez is held at third. Tatis into second with an RBI double. And the Padres break the scoreless tie here in the 6th inning.
Padres weren't done in that 6th inning. Jerkson Profar was next.
Switch hitter batting left-handed. First pitch from Wacha in the air down the right field line. Renfroe not going to get there. Drops down and a base hit. Arraez checks in and crosses the plate. An RBI single for Profar. A 3rd straight Padre hit and a 2-0 lead in the 6th.
The Padres nearly got another run in that inning. Jake Cronenworth popped out to the shortstop, Bobby Witt Jr. in shallow left. Fernando Tatis Jr. decided to dart for home plate with Witt's back turned. A risky play, though. If Fernando got in there, it would have been one heck of a base running play. Witt got enough on the throw to get Tatis at home. Padres had that 2-0 lead going to the bottom of the 6th inning. The Royals then rallied against Dylan Cease. He issued a 1-out walk to Kyle Isbell. Michael Garcia singled to put runners on first and third. Bobby Witt Jr. was next.
Garcia not running. Witt swings, serves it over Kim into left field and a base hit. Isbell will come in to score an RBI single for Bobby Witt Jr. And now a 2-1 game here in the 6th.
Next up for the Royals was Vinny Pasquantino.
Big crowd has come alive here at Kauffman Stadium. 3-1. Here it comes. Pasquantino swings, hits it in the air to left. Long run. Profar still on the run. Can't get there. Goes over the fence for a ground rule double. So the game will be tied, but the Padres catch a break because Bobby Witt Jr. was going to score easily. It'll be a ground rule double for Pasquantino. A 2-2 game here in the 6th inning.
That was it for Dylan Cease. The Padres went to Jeremiah Estrada out of the bullpen after an intentional walk to Salvador Perez to load the bases with 1 out. Nelson Velasquez hit a sac fly to drive in the go-ahead run from third base. The Royals had a 3-run 6th inning and a 3-2 lead. Remember how I said we had all those highlights? Well, let me just take a pause here. Royals ahead 3-2 after 6 innings. We're a quarter of the way through our highlights right now. Let's get to it. Padres still trail 3-2, heading to the 8th inning. They rallied against Royals reliever John Schreiber. Luis Ariz hit a leadoff single. Fernando Tatis Jr. single. Jerks and Profar laid down a bunt, and the Royals couldn't get him at first base. The bases were loaded with nobody out. The Royals took Schreiber out. They brought their closer, James McArthur, in. Jake Cronenworth then dug in.
Right now, the Padres have the tying run 90 feet away. That's Ariz. Here's the pitch to Cronenworth. Ground ball right side into right center and a base hit. Luis has scored to tie it. Tatis is on his way. He'll score without a throw. A 2-run single for Cronenworth. And the Padres hop back in front. It's 4-3.
Padres weren't done. Manny Machado was next.
Now a 3-2. Machado swings, loops it in the air to left field. That'll drop down, and a base hit. Profar going to come in to score. Cronenworth got a great read. He speeds into third base. An RBI single for Manny Machado, and the Padre lead is 5-3.
Oh, man, they weren't done. Donovan Solano stepped in.
Solano in battle mode here. 2-2 from MacArthur, lined into right center field. Is Bell going to have to play it on a couple of hops? Cronenworth comes in to score. Manny goes first to third. An RBI single for Solano. A 6th consecutive hit to start the 8th inning, and the Padres lead it 6-3.
The hits just kept on coming. Jackson Merrill was next.
Pitch from MacArthur is hit sharply on the ground through the right side, and a base hit. Manny will come in to score. 7 straight singles to begin this inning for the Padres. They now lead 7-3.
That was it for MacArthur. Royals then brought in Will Klein out of the bullpen. He struck out Luis Campusano for the first out of the inning, but then the Padres continued to pour it on. Ha-Sung Kim singled. Luis Ariz stepped in for his second at-bat of the inning and did this.
Here's the 2-1. Ariz hits it in the air the other way. Melendez not going to get there. Another hit. 2 runs going to score. Throw to the plate is cut off. 4th hit of the night for Ariz is a 2-run single. And the Padre lead is 9-3.
Fernando Tatis Jr. struck out looking for the second out of the inning, but then it was Jerks and Profar.
2 on and 2 away. Line drive over the head of Witt into left center and a base hit. Kim rounding third. He's going to come in and score another hit, the 10th of the inning, and the Padre lead is 10-3.
So at that point, it was a 10-hit inning. An 8-run inning. The 10 hits matched the franchise record. It was the 3rd time in Padres franchise history that they had collected 10 hits in a single inning. But one thing the Padres had never done before tonight, 11 hits in one inning. Jake Cronenworth made sure the Padres accomplished that.
Padres were down 3-2 when this inning began. It is now 10-3. Here's the 0-1 to Jake. Hit on the ground, up the third baseline, and a fair ball. That's going to get another run home. Ariz in to score. The throw goes to third, trickles away, but Azokar will not try and come home. An RBI double for Cronenworth. It is 11-3, and for the first time in franchise history, the Padres 11 hits in a single inning.
So to recap that 8th inning, 9 runs, a franchise record, 11 hits. The inning started with 7 consecutive singles. In fact, out of the 11 hits, 10 of them were singles. The guys who had 2 hits in that inning, Ariz had 2, Profar had 2, Cronenworth had 2. Padres had an 11-3 lead after the top of the 8th inning. Let's take a second here to talk about the Padres bullpen. Yuki Matsui was great in the 7th inning, a scoreless inning. That kept it a 3-2 deficit. Wandy Peralta then threw a scoreless bottom of the 8th inning to keep it 11-3. So the Padres had a very comfortable 11-3 lead heading to the bottom of the 9th inning. They went to Stephen Kolek out of the pen. It was not easy, to say the least. Nelson Velasquez led off.
Some of the mannerisms and the way he sets up. Swings here, sends it in the air to straightaway center field deep. Merrill's back at the wall, looking up, going to go. Tucked it right over the center field fence beyond that 410 marker. And Velasquez hits his 8th home run of the year. The score now 11-4 Padres in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Then a one-out single for Garrett Hampson. Hunter Renfroe singled. There were 2 outs later in the inning and 2 on still for Michael Garcia.
2 on and 2 out for the leadoff hitter Michael Garcia. Swings at the first pitch, bounces one up the middle into center field and a base hit. Hampson will come in to score. Down 11-5 game.
11-5, starting to get a little interesting, right? Bobby Witt Jr. was next.
Here's the pitch, and Witt swings, lines into the right side, beyond Cronenworth into right field, and a base hit. Isbell is on his way. He will score an RBI single for Bobby Witt Jr., and now an 11-6 game here in the bottom of the 9th inning.
So the Royals down by 5. Vinny Pasquantino singled. That meant the tying run was now on deck in the bottom of the 9th inning. The Padres rightfully went to Robert Suarez in what was now a save situation. The first batter Suarez faced was Freddie Fermin.
Suarez set at the belt, 2-2 now to Fermin. The pitch is swung on, hit sharply up the middle, into center field and a base hit. Garcia has scored. Witt is on his way. It is an 11-8 game here in the bottom of the 9th inning, and Kansas City is going to bring the tying run to the plate.
So all of a sudden, things were really, really real. Tying run at the plate. 2 men on base, Robert Suarez against Nelson Velasquez, where one swing could tie it.
And so Velasquez, whose home run against Stephen Pollock began this 9th inning, will come to bat. Once again, the Royals get the tying run to the plate in the 9th inning. This has been their M.O. First pitch to Velasquez, swung on, sent in the air to deep left field. Zokar is back at the wall. He's got it, and the ball game is over. About as an adventurous of a bottom of the 9th as you could ever dream of in what was an 11-3 game. But Nelson Velasquez flies out to the wall in left field to end it, and the Padres hang on for an 11-8 win here in Game 1 in Kansas City.
An absolutely wild 8th inning and then 9th inning. The Padres hang on 11-8. Had Velasquez hit it, 3, 4, 5 feet deeper into left, we might still be playing. But the Padres win it 11-8. They use that 9-run, 11-hit 8th inning to beat the Royals in this series opener. Robert Suarez now 17 for 17 in save opportunities as he continues to be terrific. Hey, that was a tough spot there. He had to get up and then sit down again in the bullpen. Then he was up again and ultimately shut the door. The Padres pick up a win. They improved to 31-29 on the year. Royals dropped to 35-24. And that is it for our highlights segment. Our total number of highlights that you heard there, 16. 16 total audio cuts there. And I believe, and I'm the guy to ask when it comes to the post game here, I believe that's the most we've ever cut, and it was worth it because that was one heck of a ball game. The final 2 innings alone, I'm looking at it here. So let's just do some math quickly, and we'll hear from Mike Shildt in just a little bit. The final 2 innings, the 8th and 9th, a grand total between the 2 teams of 14 runs scored on 12 plus 8, 20 hits. Think about that for a second. The final 2 innings of this game between both offenses, 14 runs on 20 hits in the 8th and 9th inning combined. That is how wacky, how wild, and what's the word I used in the opening segment? I think I said the game got drunk. In the 8th inning and the 9th inning. It really did. It really, really did. But, hey, good one for the Padres. A happy Friday night here in America's finest city. When we come back, we'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. We'll start to get you involved on the phones as well. 833-288-0973. The phone number to call if you want to get involved. We'll get you involved on Twitter, Instagram, the comments on the video streams as well. We'll get you in here. Padres win it 11-8 over Kansas City. We hear from the Padres manager after this.
Jake and Christine.
Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score here tonight, Padres 11 and the Royals 8. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios as we wrap this one up. If you missed this one, maybe you were at dinner on this Friday night, maybe you were hanging out with friends, maybe you were at work, whatever you were doing. It was a pretty normal game for the first 7 innings, and then this thing totally went off the rails in the final 2 innings as the Padres scored 9 in the 8th inning. They looked to be well on their way to a win here tonight, but then the Royals somehow got the tying run to the plate in the bottom half of the 9th inning. The Padres, really what you need to know here tonight, they hang on for an 11-8 win over the Kansas City Royals as they win this series opener. Let's go back to Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. Here's some post-game reaction from the Padres skipper.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Presented by Sinley Food. Spice up your culinary life.
Mike, you ever seen anything like that 8th inning?
Yes.
Okay.
But that was pretty special. I haven't seen many of them. That was I understand, Darren tells me, it's a franchise record, 11 hits in an inning, and just professional bats throughout. So no, it was really exciting.
Teams talk about stringing together hits. You guys have done it pretty well. But
Yep.
what about that inning you think kind of just came together?
Just the approach. Everybody wasn't trying to do too much, just taking what the game gave them. A lot of balls hit the other way, through the middle. Just a really good idea what they're doing, staying within their swing, and just had the approach to match it. It's a great inning. Contributions from all.
And then a wild finish.
Wild finish, yeah.
At what point did you go, you were kind of resigned, like, that you were going to have to bring in?
Yeah, listen, there's no absolute rule to it, but the rule I've always followed that's out there is, you always want to give them, a little bit of wiggle room. So, just wanted to, make sure that the time run didn't come to play. He had a little wiggle room, and, for me, put together a nice at bat on it and got the base hit, and, was able to get his guy in the game.
All those hits in the 8th were big, but do you think Cronenworth's 2-run single that put you ahead after you lost the lead, that it gave the whole club a boost?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was a big hit to, get on top, and then the guys just kept going. But yeah, Croney's hit was huge. There's a lot of big ones in the inning, but you got the one that gets you on top, always a big one.
What's the feeling in the dugout? Is it feel like it's contagious when something like that breaks out?
It does. It feels like, the examples of the at-bats were just kept showing everybody, like, this is who we are, this is what our plan is right now. And guys just kept going, moving forward. So just a fantastic job the whole night. I thought Manny and Toddy's bats were really good as well. And the whole club had a really good plan, and it was a good ball game.
Something you guys have done pretty well is losing a lead and then getting it back.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't often happen. Teams that score first win, but to lose a lead and come back, it goes along, I imagine, with the resilience that you've fostered.
Yeah, that's what resilience are. Yeah, it is. We score, they don't. They score, we punch right back. And this group doesn't feel sorry for itself at any point in time. You get down, it's like, hey, just temporary. We're going to find a way to get back on top, and we're ahead. It's not enough. We got to be hungry for more. So it's a great trait for a club that we've had since day one.
Did you have a good look at Velasquez's last at bat there to the track? What was going through your mind when you saw the ball leave the bat?
I don't think we can share that. Yeah, he looked like he put a good swing on it, and thankfully we had some real estate out there in a bigger park.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt after this game. Padres win at 11-8 over the Royals. That was a good answer there by Mike Shildt at the end. You know what? I have a feeling a lot of people here in San Diego, they would have said the same thing. Don't think I could say that on the radio. What I was thinking when that ball was in the air off the bat of Nelson Velasquez. But hey, ends well. Fly ball came up just a few feet short. Short enough where the Padres win this game 11-8. You move on and you try to win another tomorrow. All right, let's go to the phones here while we have a moment. 833-288-0973, the phone number to call. As always, let's begin in San Marcos. It's Doug on the Padres post-game show. Hi, Doug. Welcome in.
Hey, Sammy, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great, Doug.
Oh, good, man. Hey, I just wanted to say, man, I've told you before, hitting is contagious, and we need to keep that contagiousness up. I don't think that's a word, is it?
It may be, but you're right. In that eighth inning, it did seem like hitting was contagious, no doubt about it.
You know, we get our superstars, our big top dollars guys going, and it just picks up. And it's good to see Profar just hanging right in there. And Arise, I don't know what else to say about that guy.
Yeah.
He's amazing, man.
Yeah, he was. And Doug, appreciate the phone call. Look, Arise sort of quietly in this game because of how quickly it all happened. He ended up having another 4-hit game. Another 4-hit game for Arise. He's unbelievable. He really is. There was, and I can't remember if it was the eighth inning or if it was earlier, there was a swing he had on an off-speed pitch that was such a beautiful piece of hitting. 4 hits again here tonight, and was a huge part, obviously, of that 9-run, 11-hit eighth inning, right? I mean, think about it this way. Arise starts that inning. He starts it with a single, so he sparks the rally, and then a 2-run single later in the inning to extend what at that point was a big lead. So hitting is contagious and pretty impressive. Let's go to Mission Beach. It's Lee calling in. Hi, Lee. You're on the Padres postgame show.
You need some oxygen? You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
You all right?
Oh, I'm good.
Right.
I'll tell you what, that the 6 seconds that ball was in the air off the bat of Velasquez, I was not doing so well, but ended up pretty okay.
I feel you. Well, there's some positives. I mean, we won. We moved into second place with the Giants losing. There's, I thought, much better approaches at the plate, and we left less people on base. That was good.
Yeah.
And also kind of highlighted some of the personnel moves that have really worked out. Arise, Peralta, Cease were all in the game, all made contributions.
Sure.
But there were 2 things that I wanted to say. That's why I started with the positive. That, that error actually wasn't even scored as an error, but Kim kept that inning alive when he didn't complete that double play with the high throw.
Mm-hmm.
And if that was an error, that would have been his 8th, which would have given him more errors in a fraction of the games that he had all last year. Plus, he's only hitting, just above the Mendoza line. So my question is, do the Padres stick with him? And in the same breath, Kolek, because he's a Rule 5, are the Padres going to stick with that guy? I mean, his ERA is over 15 in the last 7 games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do we have to stick with those guys? We're going to do something? Just want your opinion.
Yeah, Lee, appreciate the phone call. Let me address both points. You make a really good observation, something that I haven't even talked about that 9th inning and that potential game-ending double play. And you're right, Kim's throw is high. A better throw might get the runner at first base and end the game right there. And it did allow that inning to continue. And look, to your overall point, yeah, look, Ha-Sung's defense has not been as crisp this year as it was last year, and the offense has not been as good as it was last year. Now, does that mean you make any kind of change there? Probably not. Look, he's hitting .216. The defense, for the most part, still, let's be honest, is still pretty darn good, but it has not been as phenomenal as it was a year ago. It is not. And that was, look, if Velasquez ends up hitting a home run there and he ties the game, yeah, we're going to look back on that high throw as a pretty critical moment in that inning that could have ended the game. Do I think anything is imminent with Kim? I don't. I will say this, though, and I don't know how the Padres want to approach it, how they would approach it, but Donovan Solano is making a case to be in this lineup more than just facing lefties. He really is. I mean, this guy's been great so far. He's hitting .410 in nearly 40 at-bats. He's had a great week. Look, if there was somebody else playing shortstop, who's that going to be? It can't be Xander right now. I'd have to go look at what Solano's level of experience is at shortstop. Again, I'm thinking way outside the box here because I don't think this is happening. I think Kim's going to be the starting shortstop on this team. I think things would really, really have to go badly in South Kim for him to lose that starting job, or at least the Padres take a look at somebody else. I feel that way, but I will say this: I do feel like Solano, if he's not already, is pretty soon here going to force the Padres' hand to get him in the lineup more. That's how well he's done. So, look, I don't think anything is imminent with Kim, though. So I'm going to put it on the back burner for now. But you're right. Look, he's not hit the ball nearly as well, and the defense has not been as crisp. And if those two things continue, I suppose anything is possible. I just have a hard time seeing it right now of the Padres going in any other direction. Look, as far as Kolek, there have been some bad outings in there. You felt like there were moments early in the season where he did well, and the stuff was there. Tonight was not one of them. It's an interesting situation because he's a Rule 5 guy, so the Padres got to keep him on the roster, or else you got to return him. So my answer to that right now is I don't know. If you remove him from the active roster, and I'd have to go back and just make sure I'm interpreting all the Rule 5 rules. Rule 5 rules. Think you get what I'm saying. All the Rule 5 procedures correctly. But if you don't put him on the roster, or he's not on your active roster, I believe you would have to return him as a Rule 5 pick. Now, that may end up being not all that big of a deal, considering, some of the outings here. But again, that's a decision the Padres would have to make. They'd have to be okay losing Steven Kolek. Look, tonight was not a good one. There's no doubt about that. Does that mean he's on his way out of the bullpen and potentially out of the organization? I don't know that I'd go that far. He's kind of the last guy in that bullpen right now. But we'll see. Tonight did not go well, and there have been a handful of outings. I'm just going to pull up his game log here so I have a better idea of it. Last two in particular, the one against Miami and the one here tonight, have not been very good. Look, in his defense a little bit, there have been some stretches where he's been fine, but as of late, it has not been. So, look, the Padres would have to make that calculation based on the fact that he's a Rule 5 guy. So, but hey, fair points by the caller there all the way around, and we shall see what holds or what's in the future for Kim and Kolek. Kolek, I think, is the more immediate thing that I think you could see, right? If the Padres decide they don't want him on the active roster anymore, that could be something immediate. I don't get that sense with Kim. I don't. But we'll see. I think you got to hope that it's just a 2-month thing for Ha-Seong Kim, where he just hasn't played as well. So I don't think you've lost all faith in Ha-Seong Kim yet. I don't. But you hope he starts to play better and more like the 2023 version. All right, we'll continue to work in your calls as we go here. 833-288-0973. Again, the phone number 833-288-0973. Let's quickly tell you about tonight's relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher was able to come in and slam the door shut? It's time for the relief pitcher of the game in support of the Jacobs and Cushman San Diego Food Bank, providing food assistance to local children, families, and seniors in need. To get help or give help, visit SanDiegoFoodBank.org.
Here's pitch number 10 from Matsui, and Isbell hits it in the air to right center. Jackson Merrill into the gap. He gets there, makes the catch, and a 1-2-3-7 turned in by Yuki Matsui.
Yuki Matsui, our relief pitcher of the game here tonight. I'll tell you why. Matsui, you look at in the grand picture of this game what he did, right? Matsui in the 7th inning comes in. At that point, it is a 3-2 game. Keeps it a 1-run game and kept the Padres right in it. That's before all the craziness that began in the 8th inning. So, Matsui, our relief pitcher of the game, because he was able to keep it a 1-run game, kept the Padres right in it. Great job by Yuki here tonight. All right, let's, just because we got to get to it here, let's quickly pause for station ID on the Padres radio network.
KWFN-HD1, San Diego.
Hey, it's Fernando Tatis Jr. You're listening to Padres Baseball on Padres Radio Network.
An Odyssey sports station.
Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios as we wrap things up on our post-game coverage. Again, the final score, Padres 11, Royals 8. We'll come back with much more, including many more of your phone calls when we come back. And by the way, before we go to break here, just a shout-out to my guy, Nick Danucci, with me here in the studio, doing a fantastic job here tonight. He is juggling about 10,000 different things. He's crushing it here tonight. So, if you call in, make sure you say hi to Nick and tell him he's doing a good job. Padres win it 11-8 over Kansas City. Much more postgame after this. Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score here tonight, Padres 11 and the Royals 8. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios as we recap and react to what was a wild ball game. More specifically, a wild couple of innings in the 8th and 9th. But the Padres hang on for an 11-8 win. Thank you for joining us. As always, we'll knock out many more of your phone calls coming up here in just a little bit. I just wanted to quickly circle back to the Stephen Kolek conversation because I knew it in my head. I just wanted to make sure down in my soul that I was right about the way a Rule 5 pick works for the Major League phase. And indeed, Stephen Kolek was a Major League phase Rule 5 selection by the Padres. So what we said earlier was accurate. What I said earlier was that if you don't keep Stephen Kolek on the active Major League roster for the full season, then he's offered back to his former team for $50,000. And the Padres got him from Seattle. So, again, if you take Kolek off, I'm just giving you the rules here. If you take Kolek off, that means you got to offer him back. So, again, look, it's been a rough couple of outings for Stephen Kolek. There have certainly been some rough ones mixed in with some good stretches too. But just so you know, and I've seen a lot of comments here today about Kolek, you take him off the active roster and that's it. So then you got to offer him back to his former team. Not saying the Padres wouldn't do that. I don't know. So we'll see. But just so you know, that is the situation with a guy like Stephen Kolek. There is no just optioning him to AAA or anything like that. It doesn't work like that. So you take him off the active roster, you'll lose him out of your organization. So that's kind of the deal with the Rule 5 selections in the major league phase. All right, 833-288-0973. We've got nearly a full board of phone calls all lit up here, so let's go back to the phones. And by the way, if you missed any of the radio highlights from the wild 8th inning, we're going to play you every RBI hit in the 8th inning coming up later as well, and we'll continue to cycle through the highlights and to tell you about this game out-of-town scoreboard coming up as well. Let's go to Kansas City. It's Jeff, who I understand was at the game here tonight. Hi, Jeff. How was the ball game?
Sammy, how are you doing? Yes, I'm looking at Kaufman right now.
All right, nice. Are you at a hotel? Are you staying nearby?
I'm at a hotel.
Okay.
I'm at a hotel that apparently is not in a great part of town, so I'm hoping I get to see all 3 games. But if I don't, tell everyone that I love them. Just kidding. Great game. And the one point I just wanted to call in to make was the big difference for me this year than from last year is even when it's late in the game, I was not stressed or doomsdaying at all. And then I watched these like single after single, paper cut after paper cut, and crushing the souls of the Royals fans around me. It was beautiful. I'm sorry, Royals fans, if any of you are listening, but it was great to see. And one big question: why do we not have more celebrities like Padres fans? There were gajillions of celebrities out on the field tonight.
Yeah.
What do we got to do to get some guys, gals? Come on, actresses.
Yeah, Jeff, it's funny you bring that up, and I'm glad you had a good time at the game tonight. It's funny you bring that up, and I'm going to keep you on here for a second because I talked about it. If anybody out there heard the pregame, I hope you did. Tony and I talked about it during the pregame about some of the celebrities that what were they playing in a celebrity softball game before the game?
Yeah.
So
it's a big charity event called the Big Slick.
Okay, so I heard Paul Rudd was there. He's a major celebrity. Weird Al Yankovic was there. I heard that. I heard, who else did Tony say? Paul Rudd, Weird Al.
Jason Sudeikis.
Eric
Stone Street.
I heard Sheryl
Family.
Crow. Sheryl Crow was there.
I didn't see her, but
okay.
There were so many. That's what I'm saying. There were so many.
Yeah. Well, I think,
Don Orsillo's Sea of San Diegans. It was a sea of celebrity.
Well, I think,
where are all the San Diego celebrities?
I know Paul Rudd is a Kansas City guy. I don't know about Sudeikis. I know Paul Rudd is. So, well, there are a good number, I think, of celebrity Padre fans, right?
We've got Emma Stone.
Right, Emma Stone.
The only one.
Emma Stone. There's some others. There's some others.
Okay.
Some others that have been at the ball games. I'm trying to rack my brain. But you know what, Jeff? They were going to have a celebrity softball game, if you remember, for FanFest, but the weather didn't allow it to happen. So, Jeff, I feel you. Happy you were there for the win. Hope you had a good time. Thanks for the call.
I'll call in tomorrow night if we get another dub. Dub or not, call in tomorrow. Sammy.
Okay. All right, Jeff. Thank you for the phone call. Let's go to Alpine. It's Johnny. Hi, Johnny. You're on the Padres postgame show.
Hey, Sammy. How you doing tonight?
Doing well.
Good. Yeah, I was going to say a good game all around. You know, Stephen Kolek was shaky in the ninth. We all know that. It was a bad game by him. He's had his good moments. He had his bad. But I do trust in Ruben Niebla. He's put together a hell of a pitching staff there, and the crew seems to do their job majority of the time. And I know that, you know, with our offense's lack of production, we sometimes put a lot of weight on pitching to do their job, but offense came out tonight, which is good. And I just still wonder what the deal is with how well we play away to a good team like the Kansas City Royals. That will continue to blow my mind, I think, until the end of the season.
Yeah,
because we're playing over 500 away, right? Like a 730.
Oh yeah,
like
way
that.
over. Yeah, the record is 17-10. And Johnny, appreciate the phone call. Thank you for listening. Calling in. The record entering today was 17-10 on the road. So now it's 18-10 on the road. But even beyond the wins on the road, the part that is just unbelievable, and it carried on here tonight. The Padres entered today, and again, we'll update you on the numbers during the pregame tomorrow, but the Padres entered today leading the major leagues in batting average on the road at 288 and on base percentage at 343. And what do you know it now? 11 of the hits came in one inning, but regardless, they scored 11 runs on 18 hits in this game after a homestand and a series against the Marlins that was pretty quiet for the most part offensively. And they go on the road, first game there, 11 runs on 18 hits. They have been a different team on the road. You hope, and quite frankly, they're going to need to bring some of it back home at some point and start playing better at home and playing better offense at home. So we'll see. But for now, you'll certainly take the road offense and the road wins. And this was right up there with what they've done. I mean, no surprise, just based on the final numbers tonight, 11 runs on 18 hits. This is what they do. On the road, they string hits together. They have these big innings. They come back. I mean, we have seen this a lot through 60 games, no doubt. So, well, what do you know? They go on the road, and they're back to being the stringing hits together, move the line, pass the baton Padres. It's a weird thing right now. Let's go to Daniel calling in. Daniel here in San Diego. Hi, Daniel.
Hey, how we doing, sir?
Doing great.
Thank you for accepting my call. I just wanted to give my 2 cents to the last caller, not the last caller, but a while back, that if we should keep Ha-Seong Kim.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I agree. We should keep him towards the end of the season, past the deadline. But, I mean, last year, 2023, he did great. Awesome season. Phenomenal. But, I mean, the couple seasons before, you know what I mean? I just want to say you can't expect that season he had in 2023 again. So I kind of think we should not let him go, but keep him at least and see what he can do towards the end of the season. You know what I mean? If he can accept a willing offer, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe hold on to him, but if not, I don't know if you said let him go or not, but
no. Daniel, I think, and I appreciate the phone call, and thank you for calling in, thank you for listening in. Look, I think we're having two separate conversations on Kim here. Let's start with the first one in the here and now. I don't want it to get misconstrued with the previous caller when they talked about Kim. Kim has not been nearly as good offensively as he was last year. The defense has not been as crisp. I am also not saying, you've got to replace Ha-Seong Kim and have somebody else play shortstop. That's not what I'm saying 2 months into the season. He's your starting shortstop. You hope he gets going with the bat. He's very valuable defensively. He should be in this lineup every single day, unless things went really badly for a couple more months. Now, with that said, and I made the point, I would love to see Solano in this lineup more. He's earning it. So how they would mix that in, I'm not really sure. But right here, right now, nothing's happening with Ha-Seong Kim, okay, in the sense of he's not going anywhere out of your lineup every day. The conversation beyond this year, that's a totally different one. You know, if you keep him, what kind of contract he's going to get, how, if this year doesn't improve, how that impacts what kind of contract he's going to get. I mean, coming off last year, let's put it this way. If Ha-Seong was having, to this point, we got a long way to go, okay? So I don't want to get too crazy here, but if he was having the kind of year he had last year, this year, or even just continuing what he did last year, this is a guy who'd be getting a big deal in the offseason from somebody. It's a slower 2 months. I don't want to blow it out of proportion. Let's see what the rest of this season brings for Ha-Seong Kim. But I don't anticipate right now there's anything major shakeup-wise going on with your lineup. As far as them keeping them beyond this year, that's a totally different situation. That's a totally different thing. You know, that the Padres are going to have to evaluate and decide and look at their roster and the pieces and how they fit. They've got a lot of guys to play infield, so including Rise now. So that's a totally different conversation for another day. But I don't anticipate anything major is happening as far as the playing time for Ha-Sung Kim. But it's been a slower couple of months. It has. It has not been at the level he was last year. Let's squeeze in one more phone call here, and then we'll get to some other stuff. Let's go to Nick calling in from Lakeside. Hi, Nick. You're on the Padres postgame show with Sam Levitt. How are you?
Hi, Sammy. Thank you for taking my call. Just want to say it's a great game, great win, a lot of fun, very entertaining. I would like to hear your thoughts on just one concern that I have. Robert Suarez, truly amazing, having a great season. I don't see much of a secondary pitch for him. And will major league hitters get, as they see him more and more, is there a little danger that he's a little bit too one-dimensional? And like this game could have been a home run to tie the game.
Yeah.
So just like to hear your thoughts on him developing some secondary pitches.
Sure. Well, look, and Nick, it's a fair call and a fair question for sure. In the sense of this, we know Robert this season in particular has been very, very reliant on the fastball. And look, you can't argue with the results. Okay, he's been perfect in save chances. This inning was a little bit different in the sense that he came in, gave up the 2-run base hit, then the fly ball that nearly got out. But at the end of the day, he's now 17 for 17 save opportunities with an 0.72 ERA on the season. He's been terrific, like you said. He has been very reliant on the fastball. I'm not concerned. We've seen Robert be able to use the changeup and the slider really effectively over the years, certainly in 2022 during that great run. He's got the sinker, he's got the changeup and the slider that he'll go to. So I'm not overly concerned about it. It has been a kind of game plan where they've really been majority fastball, and my mistake on it. He's not thrown. Now, I could have sworn he threw a slide. He threw a slider last year. He hasn't thrown any this year. So let me reframe this. He's thrown 3 pitches this year: the 4-seam, the sinker, and the changeup. And we know for the most part this season it's been 4-seam fastball. Look, at some point you knew while he was in that run of 4-seamers that he was going to have to mix stuff in. I'm not particularly concerned about it, to be honest with you, Nick. I mean, he's shown the ability to use that changeup really, really well in the past. I'm really not worried about that hitters are going to start sitting on that fastball and he's not going to be able to adjust. I'm not. I mean, he's been so good this year, and we saw in 2022 he's able to use that changeup really effectively, and he's got 2 variations of the fastball, the 4-seam and the sinker. So I'm not. We've seen him do it before. Tonight's outing was so weird and so unique that I'm kind of going to throw it out from the perspective of, was Robert perfect in his outing? No, he gave up a base hit and then he nearly gave up a home run, okay? But with that said, this was a weird one. Keep this in mind, Nick. He was up in the 8th inning. You may have not noticed this. You would have if you were listening on the radio. If you're watching on TV tonight, I don't know if they talked about it or not, but we did hear on the radio. And Suarez, when it was a close game after the Padres took the lead in the top of the 8th inning, he was up and throwing. I think the Padres were going to use Suarez to face the top of the Royals lineup in that 8th inning, had it been a close game, much like they did in Atlanta during that last road trip. That's what I think they were going to do. But the game got so out of hand, they scored so many runs, they didn't need him, right? So they didn't go to him. But so I say that to bring this up. He was up throwing, then he sat down, and it's an 11-3 game. There's no way he's thinking at that point, I'm getting in this game. Then he's got to get back up as Kolic's struggling and then come in this tough spot. So I kind of throw this one out of the Robert. Look, he got a save, which is good for him, and he's now 17 for 17. But as far as my judgment of Robert Suarez, I'm going to throw this one out. This was a weird one for a few different reasons. But look, I understand a little concern where it's like, hey, at some point, they're going to sit on that fastball. And let me look at what he I mean, how many pitches he threw? He threw 6 pitches tonight, so it's not even worth really looking at what he did. I said it already, didn't I? He threw 4-seam fastballs and sinkers, so he never threw a changeup out of the 6 pitches. Probably too small of a sample size to really judge anything, but I'm not really worried about Suarez. Of all the things on this team right now, I think Suarez is pretty low on the list of concerns, and he's shown the ability to throw that changeup pretty successfully in the past. So I think he will adjust if he needs to adjust and if he needs to mix in that changeup more. All right, good phone calls. Let's continue on here. Let's quickly take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the Bigs and tell you about the scores you need to know in our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Meat, where great taste meets integrity.
We take a look at scores from around the major leagues. Let's tell you what's going on right now. Game's still going on. Angels and the Mariners tied at 4 in the 8th inning in Seattle. Rockies ahead of the Dodgers 4-1 in L.A. in the 9th inning. Yankees ahead of the Giants 6-2 in San Francisco in the 8th inning. Everything else has gone final. Reds and the Cubs in Chicago today. Reds win it 5-4. Cubs had an opportunity to tie that game. A base hit down the line scored 1. Tying run at the plate, or I should say the tying run coming around third base, Ellie De La Cruz made a fantastic relay throw to cut down the tying run at home in the bottom of the 9th inning. Reds hung on for a 5-4 win against the Cubs at Wrigley. Phillies beat the Cardinals 4-2 in Philadelphia. Edmundo Sosa, a 2-run home run in that game for the Phillies. Orioles beat the Rays 3-1 in Baltimore. Blue Jays beat the Pirates 5-3 in Toronto. The final in 14 innings. Davis Schneider, the walk-off base hit for the Blue Jays in the bottom of the 14th. A home run, a 2-run home run to break a 3-3 tie. Let me just recap this one quickly. So this was a 1-1 game going to extras, and we so rarely see games go 14 innings now. That's why I'm so curious. Pirates took a 2-1 lead in the top of the 11th. Blue Jays tied it in the bottom half. Pirates then took a 3-2 lead in the top of the 12th inning. Blue Jays tied it with a run in the bottom half. A scoreless 13th inning. They were still tied at 3 going to the bottom half of the 14th inning, and the Blue Jays won it on a 2-run home run from Davis Schneider. How about that? So rare we see a 14-inning game. Mets hung on for a 10-9 win against the D-backs. J.D. Martinez, a home run in that one for New York. Red Sox beat the Tigers 7-3 in Boston. Marlins beat the Rangers 8-2 in Miami. Jesus Sanchez, a 3-run home run in that game. Guardians beat the Nationals 7-1 in Cleveland. Braves beat the A's 4-2 in Atlanta. Jared Kelenic, a 2-run double in that game. Brewers beat the White Sox 12-5 in Milwaukee. Christian Yelich, 5 hits in that game for Milwaukee. Twins beat the Astros 6-1 in Houston. Trevor Larnach, a home run in that game for Minnesota. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Friday. Padres win it 11-8 against the Royals. Let's tell you about our player of the game.
Which player had the biggest impact on today's game? Let's find out who is today's player of the game. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Catch every game at Patties and Pints. Plus, enjoy $4 beer every Thursday. Visit valleyviewcasino.com today.
There's the 2-1. Arise hits it in the air the other way. Melendez not going to get there. Another hit. 2 runs going to score. Throw to the plate is cut off. 4th hit of the night for Arise is a 2-run single. And the Padre lead is 9-3.
Luis Arise, our player of the game. Another 4-hit game. He was 4 for 5 with 3 runs scored and 2 RBIs in this one. Arise now with the Padres, sitting .398 in 103 at-bats. Since debuting with the team, remember, he had a 4-hit game in his debut with the Padres on May 4th, so it's been less than a month. Luis Arise has already had 4 4-hit games. 4 4-hit games in his first month with the Padres. He's hitting nearly 400. He's been just exceptional. 4 hits here tonight. The one you just heard, the call from Jesse, the second hit of that 11-hit 8th inning. That man Arise. He's something. Our player of the game here tonight. All right, when we come back, if you missed that 8th inning, we're going to rewind it for you. You're going to hear every RBI hit of that 11-hit 8th inning. Padres scored 9 runs in the 8th inning. We're going to wrap things up, get you ready for tomorrow, and talk more about a really, really wacky but pretty fun game for the Padres as they beat the Royals 11-8 in this series opener. More postgame after this on the Padres Radio Network. Padres win it in Kansas City. The final score, Padres 11 and the Royals 8. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. We're grooving on this Friday. Maybe you're on the way to some Friday night plans. Maybe you're on the way home from dinner. Maybe you're on the way to hang out with some friends. Whatever you're doing, we appreciate it on this Friday night. Oh, man. Padres win a wild one, 11-8 in Kansas City tonight. All right, before we rewind that 8th inning, the wacky wild 8th inning, 11 hits, 9 runs scored by the Padres in that 8th inning, and then it nearly came all crashing down in the 9th inning. I got two things to read you here. During the break, I was looking at Twitter. So 2 things here. This is from OptaStats. If you're wondering how ridiculous this game was as it got late. So again, tonight's game was scoreless through 5 innings. The final score was 11-8, right? The last time a major league game was scoreless through 5 innings and ended up with that many total runs scored was August of 1929. So again, that's the last time a game was scoreless through 5 innings and ended up with as many runs scored as got scored here tonight, which was 19 total. Back in August of 1929. That's from OptaStats. OptaStats. All right. Another tweet here. We talked about Luis Arraez having his 4th 4-hit game this season. for the Padres in his first 24 games with the team. This tweet here from the great Sarah Langs. Sarah tweeting, Luis Arraez is the first player with at least 4 games with 4+ hits in his first 24 games with a franchise since 1900. So again, Luis Arraez is the first player to have 4 hit games in his first 24 games with a franchise. That is how special, how unique, how remarkable Luis Arraez has been since the trade. He has been just tremendous. And that nugget there from Sarah Lang says it all right there. All right, we don't usually do this. Normally for our play of the game, we select one play that stood out, but it kind of felt like we had to do a little bit more than that here tonight. As the Padres, again, in that 8th inning, they're down 3-2. They end up scoring 9 runs on a franchise record 11 hits in one inning. Never done before in Padre history. Had a Padres team collected 11 hits in one inning. They did that here tonight in the 8th inning. It included 7 consecutive singles to start the inning. It included 3 guys having 2 hits in the inning, and again, a grand total of 9 runs. That 8th inning, it's our one big play or plays of tonight's game.
What was the crucial play that determined who came out on top? This is today's Play of the Game, presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
Right now, the Padres have the tying run 90 feet away. That's Arraez. Here's the pitch to Cronenworth. Ground ball right side into right center and a base hit. Luis has scored to tie it. Tatis is on his way. He'll score without a throw. A 2-run single for Cronenworth. And the Padres hop back in front. It's 4-3. Now a 3-2. Machado swings, loops it in the air to left field. That'll drop down, and a base hit. Profar going to come in to score. Cronenworth got a great read. He speeds into third base. An RBI single for Manny Machado, and the Padre lead is 5-3. Solano in battle mode here. 2-2 from MacArthur, lined into right center field. Is Bell going to have to play it on a couple of hops? Cronenworth comes in to score. Manny goes first to third. An RBI single for Solano. A 6th consecutive hit to start the 8th inning, and the Padres lead it 6-3. Pitch from MacArthur is hit sharply on the ground through the right side, and a base hit. Manny will come in to score. 7 straight singles to begin this inning for the Padres. They now lead 7-3. Here's the 2-1. Arraez hits it in the air the other way. Melendez not going to get there. Another hit. 2 runs going to score. Throw to the plate is cut off. 4th hit of the night for Arraez is a 2-run single. And the Padre lead is 9-3. 2 on and 2 away. Line drive over the head of Witt into left center, and a base hit. Kim rounding third. He's going to come in and score another hit, the 10th of the inning, and the Padre lead is 10-3. Padres were down 3-2 when this inning began. It is now 10-3. Here's the 0-1 to Jake. Hit on the ground up the third baseline, and a fair ball. That's going to get another run home. Arraez in to score. The throw goes to third, trickles away, but Azócar will not try and come home. An RBI double for Cronenworth. It is 11-3, and for the first time in franchise history, the Padres 11 hits in a single inning.
A historic 8th inning. 9 runs on a franchise record, 11 hits. The Padres led it 11-3. Things would get very interesting in the 9th inning, to say the least, as the Royals brought the tying run to the plate somehow, some way. Nearly tied the game on a home run, but Jose Azócar had enough room in left field to make the catch up against the fence. Padres win it 11-8. But our one big play, or plays of the game, if you will, that 9-run 8th inning, all those RBI hits, never been done before. Tonight, Padres with 11 hits in a singular inning. Just so you know, when they collected their 10th hit, it had been done twice prior. So tonight was the 3rd time ever the Padres had 10 hits in an inning. The 2 previous occasions, just so you know, it happened September 12, 2004 in Colorado, in August 23rd, 2002 in Florida. So, in fact, it had been nearly 20 years since the Padres had 10 hits in an inning. They got that, and they got one more to set a new franchise record. That was fun in that 8th inning. It really was. To give you just a little context here in the studio, Nick and I, we were trying to keep up. It was tough. There was so much going on. Nick's trying to cut the highlights. I'm trying to keep the game recap going. I'm trying to tweet. I'm trying to do all this stuff. It was quite an 8th inning here in the studio. It was also quite a 9th inning here in the studio as well, as for a moment there, it looked like everything was coming crashing down. But in all seriousness, terrific job here tonight by Nick DiNucci. A lot on his plate tonight between the craziness of the final 2 innings, the phone calls, getting all the things we need every single night. So excellent job here by Nick tonight in the studio. All right, looking ahead to tomorrow, 1:10 p.m. first pitch tomorrow. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show will begin at 12:10. Pitching matchup tomorrow in Kansas City. Right-hander Joe Musgrove on the mound for the Padres. Right-hander Alec Marsh on the mound for Kansas City. Again, first pitch tomorrow at 1:10. Our pregame coverage will begin at 12:10. As always, if you missed any of our postgame show, you can go back and listen to any or all of it on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast with Sam Levitt. Search it up on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcasts. You can also always go back and watch any of our postgame coverage on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube channel. Taking a look at the final totals in this wacky, wild game in Kansas City tonight. The Padres, 11 runs, 18 hits, no errors. They left on 6. The Royals, 8 runs, 13 hits, no errors. They left on 6 as well. Winning pitcher here tonight, Yuki Matsui, who improves to 3-0. Losing pitcher, John Schreiber, who drops to 3-1. And Robert Suarez collected his 17th save in as many opportunities this season. Time of game, 3 hours and 1 minute, and the crowd at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri, 30,006. Once again, first pitch tomorrow at 1:10. Our pregame coverage begins at 12:10. Until then, for our great studio coordinator, Nick DiNucci, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long and good night. Again, the final score, the San Diego Padres 11 and the Kansas City Royals 8. We'll talk to you tomorrow afternoon on the Padres Radio Network. Have a great night, everybody.